For this example, we're going to be looking at the number of days since the last Moodle login for our course. We have the number of days down here on the bottom, and our goal is to go ahead and create a probability distribution out of it. First thing we need to verify is that we're dealing with a random variable, and I know I'm dealing with a random variable because if I walked up to one of you guys in the streets, I would have no idea how many days it's been since you logged into your Moodle. It's also quantitative, which works for me. Now, before we create the actual probability distribution, we're going to start over on the left, and we're going to worry about what my observation is. And rather than creating the probability, we're going to go ahead and just put the frequency here. Now remember, frequency is the same thing as count, and so what I'm really doing on the left is setting up kind of like a frequency table, but just the first two columns. My observations were 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Now, based on these, I'm going to go ahead and write how many people responded with each of those answers. So, I had 4 people say 0, I had 1 person say 1, 1 say 2, 2 say 3, 2 say 5, and 1 person who had taken 6 days since their last Moodle login. Having this information then, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find the total. I'm finding the total so that's easy for me to set up the actual probability distribution, that is, find those proportions. So adding this up here, it looks like I have 5 and 6 people, so a total of 11 answers. To find my probability distribution then, I come over and I'm keeping that observation column. Now remember, observation is the same as a little x, so I could put a little x there instead. After that, I need to go ahead and find the probability. I can write the probability as the actual word probability, if that's a little long-winded. I could also write this as a probability of little x, or if I want to be really fancy about it, what we're actually doing here is finding the probability, the number of days you've logged into Moodle is equal to a single value. So that is the probability that big X, the number of days since you've logged into Moodle, is equal to whatever little x value we have. So those are 3 ways to write that final column there. Having this, next thing I need to do is go ahead and plug in my observations. I have 0s, 1s, 2s, 3s, 5s, and a 6. So to find my probability, I know there were 4 zeros, so this probably will be 4 over 11. This will be 1 over 11, 1 over 11, 2 over 11, 2 over 11, and 1 over 11. Now remember, I can either write it like this, or I can go ahead and convert it to a decimal place. If I'm writing decimals, I should have 4 places on that. This last column should add up to 1. It may not, though, if I go ahead and put it in decimal form because of rounding. Hopefully this kind of makes a little bit more sense with what we're doing with probability distributions and the ways that we set them up.